Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with a ship with me. These are all orders that came through over the weekend. Some really cool orders, some fun vintage pieces, some beautiful bolo brands. Cannot wait to just kind of like walk you through what sold, what I got for them, what I paid for them, how long I had them for, and really just bring you into that part of my process. Hopefully it helps you with your own business. But if this is the first time we are meeting, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia, that's my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But with that being said, guys, I cannot lie, jet lag is still really kicking my butt right now. I keep waking up at 3 a.m. My timing's all messed up. It is late today, later than my normal late. It is past 3 o'clock. So with that being said, we've got to get these things packed up and over to the post office real quick before they close. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipments. So the first item we have here is this pretty tiered top from Torrid. Again, I've really slowed up on picking up Torrid. A lot of the pieces that I have been sitting for like months and months. It seems like the general consensus from all of you is that if it's kind of gothy, like if it has a little bit of a gothy feel to it or a little bit of a vintage pinup feel to it, it moves pretty quickly. Otherwise, it's a pretty slow sale. And that has really been my experience as well, which is a bummer because I love, Torrid was always a really reliable seller for me. And I think a lot of this is coming from the fact that more and more brands are getting mercifully more size inclusive. There's a lot of pressure on brands to make size 2X, 3X, 4X available with all of their items. And I think that's just a good thing. I just think that's a good thing for consumers in general. Like, choice is good. I hope we get to the point where that's really like table stakes to get into the industry, because that has not been the case for far too long. The shame of it is, though, that Torrid is slowing down, at least on the resale market. I don't really know how they're doing as a company, as a storefront, but if anybody does know, let me know down below. And let me know if you're having the exact same experience with Torrid, where it used to just kind of fly off of your shelves and now it sits for quite a while. So I'm pretty selective with what I pick up. This had a lot of things going for it that I knew I could use in keywords, so this was kind of an easy pickup for me, but I'm real selective these days. Anyway, I had this listed for about 2 months. I had it listed for $32. My sidekick, my Posh sidekick, sent an offer for $28, which was accepted with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $19.38. And I hope she loves it. It's a great shirt and it was in fantastic condition. Next up, this was an interesting one. So this is some gorgeous silk satin. I mean, like, I wish you had touch-o-vision so you could actually feel this, but I feel like it's picking up as gorgeous as it is on camera. So this is from The Works by Saks Fifth Avenue. I believe this is maybe from the 90s. Maybe early 2000s, but I'm thinking mostly the 90s. This is brand new with tags, though I did list this as dead stock because I do believe it is that vintage. And just going by like the tag, it looks to be about the 90s. Make sure those cuffs are set. So this is a beautiful gold silk satin kind of pajama style top. I definitely recommend, if you have a top that has this like spread collar like this, that is very common on pajama tops. So I would use pajama style top because people seek that out in terms of a style note. I had never bought anything from this sub-brand before. I'd never seen anything from this sub-brand before, but Saks Fifth Avenue, silk satin, I'm in. I don't really care what it is. Those are all words that are very good in my mind. It looked like it retailed somewhere $129. The bottom part of the original sales tag was torn off. And if it was over $100 in the 90s, that's a pricey top. That is a very pricey top. That probably would be, if you're going by inflation, like $250 to $300 today. But let me know if you've ever found anything by The Works, because I had never seen anything before, nor have I seen anything since, but the quality on it was beautiful, assuming it's just an in-house brand. I mean, an in-house brand for Saks Fifth Avenue. That's saying quite a bit. So I had this listed for $34 for just 1 month. And I got an offer for $27. This was a Depop sale, which I did accept. So $27, which I gladly accepted, with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $24.45. I hope she loves it. This is really like luxury. This is like the definition of a luxurious shirt. So next up here, we've got a pair of linen pants. These are called the linen Bali pants from Athleta. These I've had for quite a while. And Athleta pants usually do quite well for me, but I think it's the cut of these that maybe slowed them down. The jogger style is starting to slow down, at least in my sales. And, you know, of course it's linen. Linen is not for everybody, especially linen pants. I think I sell linen tops and dresses a little bit quicker. Linen pants, some people will get overwhelmed with like the rumple. I say lean into the rumple. I'm all about the rumpled linen look. It's my favorite. In fact, I just did like 24 hours of travel in a pair of linen pants, and I may never travel in anything else ever again. So these are still the kind of pants that I will pick up when I see them. Athleta pants, and like they're kind of workwear athleisure, if you know what I'm talking about, do the best for me. Of course, jackets and whatnot, but I do not find a lot of jackets out here. I'm in Southern California, so very few people actually own real jackets here. That is a thing. That is kind of a joke here. I own a lot because I used to live in cold weather and I love jackets. But anyway, so these kind of pants usually do very well for me, though these did take a little while to sell. I think they were a size small as well. That didn't help anything. But if you're out looking for Athleta, number one, you want to look for the tags that have like the style name underneath the brand name. That will tell you that it's a newer piece. And just mind your acquisition costs on them, especially now with athleisure really starting to slow down. The athleisure brands in general are slowing down quite a bit. So just make sure you're keeping that in mind as you're outsourcing. So these I've had for 5 months, and I had them listed for $32. My sidekick sent an offer for $28, which was accepted. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $19.38. I was happy to move these guys on. I've had them for longer than I expected to have them, but again, a great pair of linen pants, like you cannot go wrong. Next up here, now this is a Bolo brand for sure, and this is just like a little camisole from them. This is from a brand called the Kooples, and let me show you that logo. That's the logo you're looking for there. The Kooples is a high-end brand. They make beautiful silk pieces. They use very luxe fabrics. It's kind of a smaller brand, but it's definitely a like if you know brand. I was very excited to find this. I do not find the Kooples much at all in the thrift, let alone in the bins. So it's an exciting find for me. It has this beautiful lace trim on the V-neck, and then the back has a big lace panel that kind of goes across, and then the back dips down. It's a camisole, but it's like a special camisole, and that's kind of what they do best. They do those kind of elevated basics with really luxe details. So something like this would have retailed in like the $100 to $150 range. It is silk crepe de chine, which is a beautiful fabric. I mean, like, talk about something feeling like a dream on the body. But again, this is definitely a brand I do not see a lot of in the bins. Let me know down below. Have you found the Kooples? What did you find? How fast did it sell? What did you get for it? I'm interested to hear what everybody else is finding out there. If you've ever heard of the brand, let me know if you've heard of the brand before. I'm interested to see what everybody else has found out there on the secondhand market. So I had this listed for just 2 months at $42, and I got an offer for $30, which I accepted. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $23 even. And I hope she loves it. This seriously, I mean, just a beautiful little camisole. Something that can be worn on its own or underneath, like, but it's got enough detail to it where it can kind of stand on its own. Next up here, now this is a brand that was new to me, but it was not new to a lot of you. This is a t-shirt from Jane Barnes, Janebarnes. And when I did, I picked it up because it felt really luxe. It's a linen blend. It's got a really interesting kind of Ottoman style rib to it. And when I looked up the designer, I guess she was really popular back in the 90s, and she was known for incorporating like interesting mathematical formulas into her textiles. Today, it looks like she's doing like interior design using the same principles, which is super cool. But I always love learning about these new brands. A lot of you, when I first showed this in my haul, kind of chipped in and said, oh, you know, I had friends that were really into Jane Barnes. And, you know, I guess she did a lot more like I don't want to say workwear, but a little bit more like more, I don't want to say formal wear either, but like more formal than a t-shirt, you know, stuff that like business professional, etc. But it was just definitely cool. I mean, it was new to me, and I love learning about new and interesting designers that, especially that do interesting things like Jane Barnes was doing. And I really liked the cut of this. This felt very modern in terms of the cut. I know that this was probably from like the 90s or early 2000s, but the cut was very similar to what you're starting to see more today in terms of t-shirts. A little bit more of a boxier fit, a little bit of a longer sleeve that's got a little bit more room to it. That's the way that t-shirts are going in terms of design. So I thought that this would be like a good marriage of vintage meets modern design. So anyway, I had this listed for $32 for 2 weeks. And I have a lot of interest on it. So there are some fans out there for Jane Barnes pieces. So guys, if you see it while you're outsourcing, for sure pick it up, because there are people that have their eyes out for it. So after 2 weeks, again, I had it listed at $32. I got an offer for $30, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $25.45. It's super cool, and I love finding these kind of vintage pieces that you just can't go out and buy. You know, you can't just go out and search for them in the secondhand stores. You really have to hunt for them online, and that always makes me very happy. All right, next up here, we've got this great cashmere blend turtleneck from Frame. Another one of those brands to be on the lookout for. This one in particular, though, took a bit longer than anticipated to sell. This is just a basic, lightweight black turtleneck with kind of a blouson style fit. Not over the top, just like a little bit looser. It does have a banded bottom. I think what hurt this was the fact that it was a size small or extra small. Because I've had Frame sweaters sell in like minutes. I found, God, I think the first piece of Frame that I ever found was this gorgeous cashmere cardigan, and it sold in literally like 15 minutes after I listed it for like $150. So while this one was kind of a slower seller, I think a lot had to do with the fact that I've had it over the summer and it was a smaller size. It's still a label to be on the lookout for because it is like excruciatingly expensive. This probably ran in the $200 to $300 range new, and that would be probably on the safe side. It is a wool cashmere blend and in like perfect condition. So I had this listed for 9 months at $56. And I've had a lot of interest in it. No real nibbles, no real offers on it. Just a lot of likes, a lot of looks. And I got an offer for $40, which I did accept. I was ready to move this on. And with a $1 cost at the bins, this brought my profit to $31 even. So I will still, that's still a great profit. I did get it for $1, and I will forever pick up great quality basic black turtlenecks because they are always in style. Next up, now this is something that's not for everybody. This is standard James Perse, but it is just a little cotton tank top in this pretty blue color. I sourced this for $1. If you are not able to source for $1, I would probably not touch anything like this. It will sell, but it's maybe like if you're paying $3.99, $4.99 for it, I don't think it's gonna give you the profit that you are comfortable with. But at $1, I'm gonna pick up every good condition James Perse piece that I find, because there are like people just love it. It's something that, you know, even these little insignificant pieces, while they're not gonna pull in a ton of money, it will sell quickly, and that is also important, but only if the profit makes sense. And if you're somebody that only sells on Poshmark, again, it's something that you need to think about because the shipping on Poshmark is pretty expensive. So is somebody gonna pay $6.99 to ship something like this? Yes, eventually. That is the answer. Yes, eventually. But again, it's gotta fit in the margins that work for your particular business. So I had this listed for just 2 months at $22, and I got an offer for $15. Again, keep that kind of price in mind as you're sourcing, because that's about what these go for. So with a $1 cost of the bins on this, it brought my profit to $12.56, which again, still a great profit for $1 investment. And it's a great quality piece. James Perse stuff is really like made to last. So I always feel good about selling anything that he makes because those textiles are just the best of the best. Next up, now this is an interesting one. This is like a formal top from Tadashi Shoji. His designs tend to skew a little bit more mature. Like for example, this is something that would probably be paired with a pair of like silk slacks or like an evening skirt. It's this beautiful soft knit. It's a leopard print. It's all over ruched. And it's got this beautiful like jet bead detail, like right here where the ruching comes together. Tadashi Shoji is very expensive. It's a slower seller because most of the stuff is in the formal wear realm, and it does skew a little bit more mature. And this had the fact that it was a size medium going against it. If we're selling to a more mature audience, you generally want to look for those larger sizes. But this was such beautiful condition, I couldn't leave it behind. Again, I found it at the bins. It's maybe not something that I would have picked up at $10 or $15, but at $1 or $2, I think I got this for $1. It was a no-brainer, as long as you've got the room to store it, because it will take a little bit longer to sell. Again, in general, when you're dealing with formal wear, unless you're in like peak prom season and you're using those keywords, or peak wedding season, you're using these keywords, in general, formal wear is going to move slower than your regular everyday attire. So I had this listed for 10 months at $48. And I got an offer for $37, which I gladly accepted. I was ready to move this on. And with the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $28.68. And I hope she loves it. It is a really, really beautiful top. And it is something like Tadashi Shoji pieces are made beautifully. Like this is something that will last her many, many events. So I hope she loves it. Next up, these are a thing that I found that I knew wouldn't last all that long in my closet. This is a pair of pants from Wilfred, which is an Aritzia brand, one of the Aritzia in-house brands. And the funny thing is, when I saw this in the bins, I just saw a little bit of this fabric kind of peeking up, and I knew exactly what it was. Wilfred makes these pants, and the most famous style of pants that they make in this fabric is called the effortless pants, which is more of like a straight to like wide leg trouser. These are a little bit more tapered and they hit at the ankle. I think they're called the Edison pants. I'll put it down below. I have it in my spreadsheet. But this fabric is a Japanese crepe, and it is an absolute dream. It feels so good on the body. It drapes so beautiful. Like there's no risk of like, you know, sometimes you get a pair of trousers and because of a pleat or because of a pocket, they look bulky in certain places. This fabric does not do that. It wears beautifully. It launders beautifully. It is something that you will need to like invest in dry cleaning. In fact, I found these and they had just some little like scuffs on them that I couldn't get out safely from the bins. I think it was from probably rubbing the bottom of the bins. And I took them in to get dry cleaned. If you find a pair of these pants and there is a little stain on them, it's worth the investment. You will get your money back. Especially if you're finding like the effortless pant, because those retail, I want to say like $160, and on the resale market you'll probably see $50 to $60 on them, maybe a little bit more depending on size and color. They do sell out. But this, if you are looking for an investment pair of like trouser style pants, keep an eye out for effortless pants, because this fabric is to die for. So I had these listed for just 1 month, had a lot of interest in them, and I had them listed for $50, and I got an offer for $40, which I gladly accepted. With the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $29.22. And like, let me know if you are familiar with this Japanese crepe. Let me know in the comments below, because it is just, I don't know how to describe it to you. It's just the most beautiful drape. And it's not shiny. It's got like everything going for it. That speaks to my personal style, at least. I don't know if it's everybody's personal style, but I happen to absolutely be obsessed with it. So great find. Next up, this is a bundle of two little things that I found. And I wasn't really sure when I found these. They just felt really well made, and the internal drawstring led me to think that they're something for like training. And I was right. This is a pair of bikini bottoms from a brand called Jolyn. And this is something that is worn by like lifeguards, people that are training in water. I grabbed them because they felt really well made, and one of them still has, you know, like the liner in, and I wasn't quite sure. So I figured I'd take a chance on them and bring them home. Now these aren't something that I would recommend picking up unless you're getting them super, super cheap, and bundling them up did work for me, but they retail for like $30 a piece. I had never heard of it before I found them. And that's Jolyn, Jolyn. So I had initially had them both listed for $15 a piece. I was seeing as sold comps between like $8 and $15 a piece. So again, like not something that I would recommend picking up unless you're really able to source at that low dollar amount. I I did have a lot of views on them and I had a lot of action on them. So they're something that'll probably move quick. But again, if you're sourcing at $3.99, your profit will not be there. I can say that with almost certainty if you are not sourcing at the bins. So I ultimately bundled them up for $28 and I got an offer for $18 for the two, which I gladly accepted. Happy to move these on. Learned a little bit about a new brand. So I always considered, even if it's not something that I make a lot of money on or I even lose money on, at least we're learning about it and I can pass that knowledge on to you. But I had them both listed for about 2 months. Again, had a ton of action on them, just no bites. With a $2 total cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $12. So again, happy to be moving these on and in like brand new condition. So I hope they go to some great use. Next up here, now this is something I will pick up anytime I see it. Give me like a vintage wool sweater any day. So this is vintage from Orvis, which is like an outdoors brand. They do a lot of like fishing gear, hiking gear, that type. Really high quality. It's known in the industry, but this is definitely vintage. I'm gonna say probably early 90s based on the tag. It has a person's name sewn into it. These kind of sweaters are like built to last, right? Like this is an heirloom quality sweater. Any kind of vintage wool sweater, this, it's high quality, I'm gonna grab. Especially something in this good a condition. Like considering this is probably 30 years old, maybe 40 years old, this could easily be back in the 80s, just looking at this tag. This was probably kept in storage and then moved on maybe in an estate. That's generally my guess. But if it was something that the owner back in the 90s considered valuable enough to put a name in, that's a good sign of quality. So I've had this guy for about 6 months and I'm not super surprised that it didn't sell quicker. I was pretty sure this was gonna be a Depop sale and that is the fact. But I had it for about 6 months and not super surprised that it didn't move because it is a heavy sweater and we were in the summer. So now that it is cooling down, I'm starting to see a little bit more movement on my bulkier sweaters, which is great. Especially for somebody like me with like limited storage space, moving those bulky sweaters just feels good. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. So I had this listed for 6 months. I had it listed at $34. I got an offer for $28 again on Depop. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $25.14. So happy to be moving this on, happy to be finding this a new home. When you find something in this good a condition that's vintage, it always makes me happy to get it out of that waste stream and get it back into the hands of somebody who's gonna give it some more wear. I hope they love it because that is a fabulous sweater. Next up, this is a pair of pants from Mathew. Now Mathew is kind of like a golf brand. They do a lot of men's sportswear. And while their shirts do okay, they sell quickly. They have a big market for them. They sell quickly, they just don't necessarily sell for a high dollar amount. If you're sourcing at the bins, pick them up every time. You know, they will sell $20 to $30 depending on the shirt. But the pants in particular, I think this is called the open to close pant. These are the kind of things that can be worn to the office and also on the golf course. They have that like slack look to them, but they're also tech fabric. They're super lightweight. They're sweat wicking. These retail for, I think, $120 roundabout. I mean, the polo shirts retail close to $100, if not over $100. It's quite expensive retail. It's not quite as expensive as Peter Millar. That's another brand for sure to be keeping your eyes out for. But these pants in particular, they resell pretty well. I see sold comps between like $30 and $70 depending on color and size and, you know, of course, season that you're selling them in. So that's always a great sale and something, you know, you can comfortably pay up for if you're sourcing in that like $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 range, right? Like that's a comfortable profit margin. So these guys I had for just about 2 months. Makes sense that it'd be selling now. People are starting to look for golf pants versus golf shorts. And I had them listed for $54 and I got an offer for $45, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $35 even. So a nice pair. These are in like brand new condition. So super happy to be getting these into the hands of somebody who will give them some use. Next up here, are we early for the holiday sweaters? This is something that I picked up from Zara. And I don't know if you can see the sparkle on that, but this is like a Lurex, lightweight Lurex tie neck sweater. And I will always pick up these kind of holiday sweaters because they sell very, very well for me. Generally, they sell more in the season as we're getting more into the holiday season, but I guess we're there. Oh my God. where did this year go? So these are the kind of things that, you know, maybe get worn once a year. And I find that stuff like this, now obviously you know I love selling my high quality basics because I know that they're going to get the most wear, but stuff like this is your classic resale gem. And it is the perfect thing to pick up on the secondhand market. I do a lot of tops like this, think Halloween tops, Christmas tops, those kind of holiday fabrics, velvets, etc. Those do so, I would say, holiday style textiles, sparkly green sweaters, red velvet blazers are pretty much the quickest selling things for me versus anything burnout velvet. Burnout velvet is pretty much across the board my fastest selling textile ever in any application, but stuff like this moves almost just as quick. I can't believe we're starting to see holiday sales. So anyway, I had this listed for just under a month at $32. My sidekick sent an offer for $28. She counted back at $23, which I did accept. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $17.40. So I hope she loves it. I hope this has a great holiday season because it is super cute. And finally, this is one that I had so much interest in. This is from House of Harlow, 1960, which is Nicole Richie's brand. And I love pretty much everything I have ever seen from this brand. I think I love Nicole Richie's style. And they do sell these at TJ Maxx, so the pricing on them has come down a bit. This is a brand that is also sold at Revolve, so it just depends on what style you get. This is cotton gauze. It's like a tie front cardigan. It's got kind of an empire waist. It's really interesting. But this is one of those things, especially on Depop, it must have been put into some edit. I got so much interest on this. And I'd had a couple offers that I accepted that didn't go through, as is kind of the norm when you have something that's kind of popping off on Depop. Frustrating, yes, but it's just part of the business there. But I had this listed for just about a month. Again, it had so much interest in it, so I knew it would sell relatively quickly. So one of those offers that popped through was for $25, and I had accepted it, and it did pop through as a sale. And with a $1 cost at the bins, this brought my profit to $22.46. So I hope she loves it. I'm happy to be moving that on. I love when I randomly have these pieces that just kind of go crazy on Depop. It always makes me happy to see. But that is it, guys. That is the shipment for today. Thank you so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. Again, thanks for dealing with my jet-lagged self. I still feel like I'm a bit in a fog. But as I mentioned before, I am running super late, so I need to get these packed up and over to the post office so I can get them underway today. So if you guys had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting, and I will see you in the next one.